public, acting as public servants. So on the afternoon, Wednesday, just a couple of days ago, there was a break and enter. These individuals who are guilty of breaking and entering are outfitted with automatic weaponry. And they have them pointed at me. Yeah. There was a van load full of outfitted for war. Every single one of them is outfitted for war. They're all armed, they're all dangerous. You're going to have to please excuse me, I beg pardon. I mean, there's no way for me not to be traumatized. There's bodily harm. I'm going to show you bodily harm. I'll provide for you. I'll show you when I turn the camera around. I'm going to show you some documents. So there is a conspiracy amongst bankers and solicitors and the Premier here acting as the province of British Columbia and the manager here of the District of SAANICH and the two chiefs around here, one acting as Victoria Chief and the other acting as SAANICH Chief of Policy Enforcement, along with persons acting as BC Prosecution and members of the bench to unalive me, just to pick and to poke and to prod continually. And so that's why they were here Wednesday afternoon, because I am not required to avail myself to vexatious, frivolous, scandalous, without merit claims of action, to suits that have been drawn up in error to cause me intentionally loss, harm, and injury. So I have witnessed on CCTV this armed and dangerous gang arriving and getting out of their vehicle. Now, I want to know from Mr. Whitaker. Mr. Whitaker, yeah, this is the woman that you violently assaulted the other day on Wednesday afternoon. You premeditated a hate crime on me, Mr. Whitaker? Did you think that all the way through, Mr. Whitaker? So your title is Sergeant, is it? I don't recognize that title. I'm sorry, I don't recognize that authority. So why did you and your partners in hate crime tape over the CCTV camera in the hallway? Every question I ask you, you are going to answer. Because we're going to trial, is that correct? And you are going to be called. Yeah, you need to be questioned at length about your conduct and your behavior. And why did you tape over the peephole into the space that you are breaking and entering? Again, Mr. Whitaker, when you're asked a question, Mr. Whitaker, I am the agency and I am the agent who is coming for you. And I'm afraid I do have authority. I'm afraid I do have jurisdiction. You're guilty of conspiracy to commit murder. And that is not an allegation. Your behavior proves you are guilty beyond reasonable doubt. What the fuck are you doing here? Guaranteed there was 13. Was there 13 of you here Wednesday afternoon? I'm built like a wafer, thin and fragile. You ever heard the term handle with care, fragile, handle with care, Mr. Whitaker? So why did there need to be a assault weapons pointed at me and fucking flashlights. So, Mr. Whitaker, if you had been provided a key, why did then you and your partners in hate crime commit the act of mischief, commit the act of vandalism by destroying private property to gain entrance into a space you have no right to enter? Because, Mr. Whitaker, you and I both know the warrant for arrest is unendorsed. And unless you have a warrant for arrest endorsed by at least 2 witnesses, Mr. Whitaker, you can't fucking make another move. Mr. Whitaker, do you have any idea who you've come for? So you and that demon, Dean Degenerate Duthie, have premeditated a break and enter, assault with deadly weapons, torture, conspiracy to commit murder, hate crime, unlawful confinement, kidnapping. Are you aware of any of these criminal code offenses, or do you actually believe that you're above the law? Is that your belief? Is that your belief, Mr. Whitaker? Is that your belief, Mr. Duthie? Because the owner of the private property watched what you did. Yeah. And then the owner of the private property, some of which you destroyed, went and attended your little satanic savage fucking pink pit over here. And how did you treat the owner of this private property? How did you treat the owner? With disrespect and disregard? Ugliness? Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what you did. Now, why would you behave in such a disgusting, unprofessional manner? Listen, I don't ever ask a question that I don't know an answer to. So why would you treat a victim of your fucking ugliness with disrespect and disregard? Why would you do that? Because, Mr. Duthie, you're going to need to answer, because you're the fucking top dog. You're the fucking head fucking hog. You continue to completely fucking embarrass yourselves. And, Mr. Murdoch, you're going to need to step aside as manager of the district. You clearly are unfit for public service. You're a partner in crime, Mr. Duthie. You also need to resign. There's no other agency and there's no other agent who has the authority and the jurisdiction to remove you. You're clearly unfit for public services. It is a fraud to conceal a fraud. It doesn't matter how many fucking times you come and violently fucking assault me and attempt to fucking murder me. I'm afraid that piece of land and that house dwelling belongs to me. Yes, it belongs to the Honorable House of Daly, and I am the woman of that house. Yeah, I'm afraid so. I'm afraid I'm under contract. Now, you were informed, all of you were informed on September the 4th, that I appreciated the invitation for public service. I was invited. I was invited to avail myself to public services. That's why you need my consent by way of autograph. You need my consent to offer me and to have me engage in public service. Now, when I'm under threat and duress, when I'm being coercively controlled, you cannot contract with me. There is no contract. For a valid contract, you need to have meeting of the minds. There's not going to be a meeting of the mind between myself, a woman, a sovereign, and the persons who are pretending to be public servants, whether federally, provincially, or municipally. For a valid contract, legally, lawfully binding contract, you need to have mutual consideration. I have to be receiving the same benefit as the individuals involved in the contract. There's no benefit for me to be involved in any of these public services that have been offered to me. So on September the 4th, you were all informed I would not be availing myself to the invitation that was scheduled for September the 5th. So what I need to know is, do you understand and know how to read documents? Like, do you understand and realize what the legal system is all about? Because it's all about witnesses and consent. So in order for you to have been at the door on Wednesday afternoon, you would have needed my consent to services, which was revoked on September the 4th. So there was no service that you could be providing to me. You need to stay the fuck away from me and the fuck out of my life. I'm attempting to save my own life, and you're impeding my right to save my life. That's a criminal code offense. Do you understand that? You need to start reading the criminal code, if you haven't yet. That's your fucking job. So, what I have here in front of me is a piece of paper. Yes, the piece of paper is titled Warrant for Arrest. Now, I can see on this piece of paper, I need to see two witnesses. I need to see two witnesses, and I need both of their names to be legible. Like, I need to be able to identify who these public servants are. So I see one public servant here whose surname is visible. But what I don't have here is a second witness, which means that this document, it's got a stamp on it, September the 5th. But what I don't see is a second witness here. This documentation is not endorsed. This warrant for arrest has not been endorsed by a party who believes they have authority to endorse such a document. So that means you don't have a right to make a move. You can't go and apply for any other paperwork that would give you the right to enter this space. And yet, I'm looking at some other paperwork here. Warrant to enter dwelling house. So how is it that you obtained that documentation? Because Nick Murray, your nasty name is on this document here. I see Nick. Mr. Murray? Is that what you call yourself, Mr. Murray? And I also see here a person identifying themselves as a judicial justice. Now, the two of you needed to have made sure, before you drew up this document, of which you would have to have looked at the warrant for arrest on September the 5th to make sure that it's endorsed, that you actually have the authority to draw up this warrant to enter a dwelling house. Now, what I need to know from you is, what paperwork did you provide to the staff that gave you access to a master key? And if you have a master key and can enter this space, why then did you not use the key that you had been provided to enter the room? Instead, you chose to destroy. In an act of mischief, you made the willing choice to commit the crime of vandalism of private property. And yet you have a key because you were provided a key. And how did you get the key? Because I need to know what documentation you provided to the staff for you to have access to private property that you have no right to have access to, because your documents are based on fraud. You can't go get a warrant to enter a dwelling house unless you have an endorsed warrant for arrest. And if I've informed you that I will not be availing myself to any more of your satanic ritual abuse on September the 4th, then how the fuck did you get a warrant for arrest on September the 5th? So if you're not going to listen to me, and you're not going to hear me, I'm not going to listen to you, and I'm not going to hear you. Because I am not required to. My job is to save my own life, and that's why I'm taking the land and the dwelling back from the trespassers. So I don't know if you understand the way I signed the documents the other day, but I signed them with, I don't consent. Because I don't. I do not consent to a malicious prosecution. I don't have to. I do not need to avail myself to public services that I don't require. I don't need to avail myself to public services that are seeking to impede me from saving my own life. No. So we have a problem now, because now the private property owners need to protect themselves from the property damage that Mr. Whitaker has caused to private property. So Mr. Whitaker, you are going to be, well, you have to pay for the damage that you caused, and you have to pay out of your own pocket. That is the policy. I tell you what the policy is. It's $200 to replace the private property that you destroyed willingly and knowingly, which you didn't have to destroy because you had a key, and yet you chose to destroy anyway. So now what we have is proof that you can't even open a door. I mean, this is the level of intelligence that we're dealing with, that you can't even use a key to open a door. You need to stay the fuck away from me. So after you fucking unlawfully arrested me and fucking kidnapped me, and you fucking put me in a cage, so there was another 24 hours of torture, how many times did I ask you for water? A bottle of water with no fluoride in it, repeatedly. How many times did I tell you to let me the fuck out of the cage because you had no right to break and enter? Assault with deadly weapons, conspiracy to commit murder. How many times did I say something? For hours, I told you. For hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, this mouth would not stop. This mouth right here is a deadly weapon. That's why you're fucking here with automatic weapons pointed at me. That's why you're here with automatic weapons pointed at me. I don't need weapons, bitches. I am a deadly weapon. I got 4 deadly weapons on me. My mind, my mouth, my heart, and my soul. So I fucking outgun you. I fucking outgun you. Mr. Whitaker, you are fucking disgusting. You are fucking disgusting. I asked you, after you had violently assaulted me, why you don't wear body cams. Where are your body cams? Oh, don't have them? Well, you're going to start wearing them. Why did you cover up the camera in the hallway? Why did you cover up the peephole? Is that because you're refusing to identify yourselves? Well, I'm afraid you're going to have to identify yourselves, because those are the rules. And when you had me held up in the cage there torturing me, I told you, I need a list of all your names. I need a list. You have to provide a list with all the names of every single piece of shit who is guilty of break and enter. Breaking and entering. Let me see here. I have some notes here. Well, you've got aggravated assault. That's section 268. You've got section 384, 1D, breaking and entering into a dwelling house carries the term of life of imprisonment for life. Imprisonment for life for breaking and entering, because you don't have right to do that. And when a woman says no, she means no. And when a woman says she's in fear for her life, that's code for, and obviously you don't understand, that's code for stand down. That's code for stand down. So do you understand that then? When I say to you, stand down, that means stand down, and there's no higher authority than my voice. I am the agency and I am the agent with full and complete fucking authority. I don't know who the fuck you think you all are, but I know exactly who I am. I boss you around. You don't boss me around. I tell you what the fuck to do. You don't tell me what the fuck to do. You're fucking zombies at the fucking zombie zoo. You have serious fucking mental health issues. Hello. I was just providing some live testimony as to another violent assault I experienced on Wednesday afternoon. I had the SWAT team here. They didn't have an endorsed warrant for my arrest, and yet they went and got another warrant to enter the space I'm in. And they were given a key to the room, to the space. They were given a key to the space. And instead of using the key to get into the space, they decided to commit vandalism and mischief and completely destroy private property in order to get access to me. So they could, well, they had deadly weapons pointed at me. They had automatic weapons pointed at me. So I just need you to know that I don't have any weaponry. Like, I don't have any guns. I'm a little tiny thing. Like, I'm under 5'4", and I weigh probably like maybe 110 pounds. I'm like a wafer. Fragile, handled with care. So I'm going to turn the camera around and show you all the bodily harm that they caused me, and they did it on purpose. So when they put the cuffs on me, and of course I have to resist. I have to, because I can't consent to what they're doing. And if you don't resist, that's basically like sending a message to these animals that you're consenting to what they're doing to you, and I don't consent. I don't consent to being kidnapped. I don't consent to being harmed. I don't consent to being tortured. It was another 24 hours of torture because they were here about 20 after 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesday, and I wasn't released for 24 hours. So it was fucking torture. There's no sleeping. I repeatedly asked for water. They wouldn't give me any. They tried to poison me with McDonald's, not once but twice. I don't ingest poison. I can't. I asked for some proper food, like go to the store, which is right across the street from you, and get me a fruit salad or a salad or a banana or an apple. No, I got the fucking silent treatment, which is completely, well, it's like being tortured. You know, they put me in a cage, and I'm not an animal, so why am I in a cage? And so I spoke for hours. I just kept speaking. I just kept pointing out what they were doing. I kept teaching them the truth. I kept telling them, like, even if I'm your enemy, and obviously I am, because why the fuck have you, like, you're outfitted for war? When the SWAT team was here. I'm not even kidding. They had the fucking SWAT swarm out for me. Like, are you fucking, have you lost your minds? There's some animal texting me, identifying itself as Mr. Whitaker. You're under arrest. Fucking says who? Let me see the paperwork. Let me see this fucking paperwork that you're acting upon. Because I'm going to show you the paperwork. It's an unendorsed warrant for my arrest that was filed on September the 5th after I informed them September the 4th. Yeah, I appreciate your invitation, but I won't be coming. I don't need your services. So on September the 5th, you shouldn't expect to see me there. You need to use these fucking services properly. And coming after me is not using them properly. I live in Victoria, British Columbia. You should see the fucking state of affairs in these communities. They're fucking falling apart at the seams, and yet they're coming at me, an innocent woman. And they want to push for a trial. Are you that fucking stupid? Are you this fucking stupid? They have fabricated 2 counts. Fabricated 2 fucking counts. Criminal harassment? I don't fucking think so. And willfully resisting. No. No, you need to use these fucking services to actually clean up the community. I'm not dirty. You don't need to clean me up. I know what the fuck I'm doing. I know exactly what the fuck I'm doing. Why do you think I fucking come on here? I don't want everybody involved in my private business, but you keep fucking yanking me out from seclusion into... What the fuck are you doing? Have you lost... Oh, fuck, I'm dealing with the fucking zombie zoo. Like, just leave me the fuck alone. Just let me do my job. I'm under contract. There's a contract in place here that states very clearly that land and that dwelling that's been stolen from me, I need to have it back. I'm trying to save my life, and you stopping me from taking the property back is impeding me from saving my own life. That's a crime in Canada under the Criminal Code of Canada. So I'm in Canada here, and the criminal code applies to every single province. Now, if you're in America, every single state has its own, well, criminal code, right? Like, every state decides what's a crime and what is not a crime. Well, here in Canada, there's just one code. It applies in every single province. And these are shit stains acting as police. So I'm going to read from you the duties of police, right? This is hilarious. This is the Police Act. Yes, they've got an act. The actors are supposed to follow the act. You understand what I'm saying? An actor and tear. It's a tear. Holy fuck. It's a terror. It's a fucking tyrant. So this is what they're supposed to be doing. And they call these common law duties. Well, an act is not the common law. But they're talking about common law duties. Number 1, preserve the peace. These fuckers don't know a fucking thing about peace. Why the fuck are they here with the fucking SWAT team? You think that's peaceful? No. They're here with the SWAT team. They're all armed with fucking deadly weapons. Protect life and property. You're trying to fucking murder me. You're not protecting my property. You've left that job up to me. How are you? It's nice to see you. Thank you for joining me. Number 3, prevent crime. Okay, well, you're not doing that either. I'm trying to stop crime. I'm the one trying to prevent crime here, and you're the fucking ones who are fucking committing these crimes. Number 4, enforce the law. Well, what law are you supposed to be enforcing? Is it supposed to protect life and property? Because you're not doing any of that. Number 5, apprehend offenders. Okay, well, I'm not the offender. I'm the victim of the crime. I've survived 2 war crimes. The kidnapping of my son. They sold him. Forced adoption. You read the Criminal Code of Canada, that's an act of genocide. Then they come for my house and my land, sell it, steal everything, and then keep all the money, leaving me with nothing. What is going on here? Am I in the fucking Twilight Zone? Like, does anybody else understand what is happening to me? So I try to reach out to targeted people. Targeted people. Are you targeted? I hope not, because I'm so sorry if you are. Like, you don't deserve this. I don't deserve this. You don't deserve this if you're one of the targeted. What the fuck is going on here? They're trying to end my life. They never do what's right. They never follow the rules. They never follow the fucking policy. They never fucking follow what they're supposed to be doing. They're all getting paid. And I'm here, sitting here, fucking destitute. And now I have been strapped with a bill for $200 because they destroyed private property. The piggies destroyed private property after they were fucking handed a key to the space. They refused to use the key to the space. They just decided to fucking completely destroy a lock, like a way to get into space. Like, quite a complicated situation, you know what I mean? Like, this stuff costs money. So no, I'm the one with the bill. But I didn't cause any... Like, listen, when you are fucking outside the door with the SWAT team, I am not obligated to open the door. I am not bound to avail myself to danger. I'm sorry, I can't... You're not telling me what to do. I'm not open... I don't need to talk to you. What the fuck are you doing? You're trying to fucking, like, take me out. You're trying to unalive me by just constant picking and poking and prodding. You just pick and you poke and you prod. You humiliate me. This is degradation. Like, I've done nothing wrong. And now I'm facing. So you realize, right? Because I wouldn't go to the invitation. There was an invitation to a malicious prosecution. And I didn't go because I don't need to go. Thanks for the invitation. I'm good. You go fucking right ahead. You don't need to be a part of my life. This is why they need you to sign. Have you ever noticed that? That the government or any services that you go and get, they need you to put your signature, your autograph on paperwork. They need you to consent to what they're doing. They need you to consent. Well, how can I consent when I'm being intimidated, I'm being threatened, I'm under duress? If you don't fucking do what we say, you're going to jail. Well, you can't create a contract like that. Contracts have to have mutual benefit for everybody involved. How the fuck am I being benefited at all by you constantly fucking hauling me into your Babylonian fucking beast system that has nothing to do with life or living or fucking love? And you expect me to just fucking roll over and fucking swallow all of your bullshit? I'm not doing it. No, thanks, I'm good. So because I didn't show up after I informed them, thank you for the invitation, I'm going to be declining, and here's all the lawful reasons why I am declining. Leave me alone. You're done. Whatever fucking you got going on there, you need to discharge or you need to dismiss with extreme prejudice. You need to stay them. Those 2 counts that have been fabricated, they're telling fucking fables. A fable is a fabrication of evidence. That's what they've done. They fabricated a bunch of fucking lies about me, my conduct, and my character, so they can continue to allow a fraudulent mortgage to run and to trespassers to fucking completely destroy my home. And that's what's happening to me right now while I remain. Listen, I have a roof over my head, but I'm homeless. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have a home that's been stolen. Yes, I have a roof over my head. I mean, everyone deserves a roof over their head. But for all intents and purposes, I'm a homeless woman, and I am trying to survive being left in purposely extreme poverty. And now to make it even worse for me, they came and destroyed somebody else's private property, and I get the bill. I was handed a bill today to pay for their fucking damages. So I text messaged Mr. Whitaker, who was the beast that was here the other day. He was the fucking head witch of this whole fucking coven that was here. Mr. Whitaker, identify as a peace officer. You're being provided lawful orders. You need to reimburse the property owner, the private property owner. You destroyed their private property. This is now your responsibility, not mine. You better be paying this, and you better be paying it right the fuck now. You caused this damage, not me. But the property owners need to cover themselves, right? So, of course, I'm the one who gets the bill, and then now I have to go deal with something else. So they just keep fucking piling it on my plate. They just keep fucking piling it on and piling it on. There's no fucking help. It's just constant fucking circular circus fucking shit show spin. They don't stop. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about, but they're large and in charge. Well, you're not large and... Listen, I'm not your property. You should see the fucking shit I see on these papers. Yesterday, I'm signing fucking documents that are referring to me as a prisoner. Oh, bitch, I don't think so. I'm not a prisoner. I'm not your property. I'm not your prisoner. You're not my guardian. I'm not your fucking slave. I'm not a subject. No, I'm a woman. I'm a sovereign. I'm a stranger here. I don't belong here, but I'm here. I gotta witness what's happening. These motherfuckers yesterday, they all literally buried themselves. They buried themselves. Your conduct buried you, and then the paperwork you provided is all based on fucking fraud. You have no authority to be here. You have an unendorsed fucking warrant. You have to have it endorsed. You've got to have 2 witnesses on that fucking piece of paper, and you don't have them. You want to see? Okay, I'm going to flip some lights on here. I'm going to show you my arms, my wrists, because the fucking 2 pigs who actually assaulted me when they were fucking had their deadly weapons on, they made sure those fucking cuffs were as tight as they could go. And I said to this fucking pig, I said, you need to let loose these cuffs. You're fucking hurting me. You know what this fucking idiot said to me? Well, you could escape. Fucking escape and go where? Escape and go where? Are you this fucking stupid? We're standing in the hallway here, and I'm like, what are your names? I get silence except for the piece of shit behind me. They're touching me, right? Don't touch me. Don't fucking touch me. You fucking touch me, you're guilty of assault. And if you got a weapon on, now you're guilty of fucking assault with a deadly weapon. Why you got weapons? So I got two of these fuckers holding me. Don't touch me. And the one behind me, I say, it gives me its name. I think it was Kyle. Excuse me, I'm completely traumatized, right? I was fucking tortured. I think his name is Kyle, if I heard correctly. And then I'm like, now I'm going to speak to them in a language they can understand, right? Like, I don't call my father this, but I say to them, do any of you believe in God? Do any of you believe in God? And the kid behind me, the voice behind me, kind of stutters and stammers. Well, I've never really thought about it. You fucking for real? Like, so you've identified yourself as an unbeliever, so now we're enemies, right? And at no point has your conscience fucking kicked in and said to you, your heart and your soul, hold on a second here, you know what, I can't be a part of this. Like, I can't be a part of assaulting a woman, a small woman, a fragile woman, who keeps speaking to us. She speaks to us in email. She speaks to us in live Instagrams. She speaks to us on YouTube. She speaks to us on Twitter. I'm not going to call it X, it makes me sick. She's speaking to us all the time. We don't listen to her. We won't respond to her respectfully. But we continue to assault this woman. We won't respect any of her rights. We won't fucking uphold our... Okay, so these shit faces take an oath here in Canada to uphold something called the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. That's what they oath to uphold. And they oath to, well, the reprobate rat royals, right? The wicked Windsors. That's who they oath to. But at the end of the day, the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms is supposed to be, you know, the superior governing policy here. Well, you don't get to fucking go around stealing babies and selling them. You don't get to go around stealing a woman's land and her house, embezzling all the money, and then fucking leaving her for dead and not helping her when she keeps telling you the same thing because she knows what she's talking about. And instead of helping, you're just constantly assaulting her. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you're hated by the world. I'm not a retard. I know what's happening to me, and I know why it's happening. That's why I've head held high, shoulders back, you know, like, put my best foot forward. You can know what you're doing. I know who you are. What the fuck? What's going on here? Okay, I'm going to flip this around. Now you're going to hear some clicking because I have a light, because there's no way we can take a look at the damage that's been done to my body without a proper light on. So please excuse me just for 1 second. Bear with me. Let me see what's going on here. Oh, for fuck's sakes. This is horrifying. Okay. Not sure if you can see this or not. Where's all these fucking... This is a horrible light, isn't it? This light is horrible. Let me just check. Give me a sec here. Is that better? Up here you can see this. Maybe this is the wrong light. Well, so, like, I took pictures. I'm not sure if you can see this very well, but, like, I took pictures. Oh, fuck, it's so hard to see. So anyway, like, I'm all bruised, right? Like, I'm all bruised all on my wrists. Like, and they're aching. You guys have no idea how badly they ache. It's so hard to see. I'm so sorry. Like, I just wanted to show you. I can't even get my fucking hand around the right way so you can actually see. But, like, it's all sore and bruised in here. This is all black and fucking blue. There's, like, marks here on my wrist. There's a big bruise here. Can't really see it, but, like, for fuck's sakes. There's a cut back here. And, of course, I have, like, internal damages because I didn't get any water to drink. You can't even fucking see this. This is nuts. This is pissing me off. But this is all cut in here and all bruised and all ouchy. You can't even see. This is so embarrassing. I'm so sorry. And I need to show you this paperwork that I'm talking about. So yesterday when they were here, one of these shit faces flashed this in front of my face so quickly, I didn't really have time to take a good look at it. realize, okay, so just think about the amount of cortisol that's now been pumped into my adrenal glands, because they're like, I'm not kidding you guys. They're here with, like, they've got assault weapons on me. That's how they get in here, with assault weapons. So of course I'm in fear for my life. Like, I'm not dead. Like, I still have feelings. And so if you look at this, you need to have a signature here. This is unendorsed. This is just a court clerk. This is just the stamp that it's been filed, but like, it's unendorsed warrant. So this Constable Sandhu, you're guilty. You're an accessory. You're an accessory to breaking and entering. You're an accessory to assault with a deadly weapon. You're accessory with kidnapping, because you're the one, I'm pretty sure, that moved me from one location to another against my will, against my consent. And I told you again and again, get your fucking hands off me, stop touching me, leave me alone. I'm not hurting anybody. I haven't hurt anybody. I haven't done anything you accuse me of doing. Right, because you see this here, this is a fiction. This is a fiction here. This is a criminal organization. Here's their number, their beast number here. And they've fabricated, they've created fables, and they have fabricated evidence. This is called perjury. That's a crime in Canada. Well, is it? Or do they fucking decide what's a crime and what isn't? And here the accused, right? Listen to me. I'm not the accused. Who the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm not the accused. I don't answer to the accused. I don't answer to the prisoner. I don't answer to the respondent. I don't answer to the fucking active. What are you doing? Failed to attend? I didn't fucking fail to attend. You provided an invitation. I rescinded my forced consent. I rescinded it. I told you. Here are my lawful reasons for not partaking in your waste of public resources. I'm not gonna fucking let you abuse me. I can't be a part and parcel of that shit. Fuck off and die. So this is September the 5th. They're fucking doing this. Okay, that's just fucking great. That's ducky. I'm not kidding you guys. You gotta have somebody sign here to give you the authority. You need 2 witnesses. You only have 1, so you're fucked. So then what do? Take a fucking look at this shit. Warrant to enter a dwelling house. You can't do that. You can't do this. This thing right here has got to go. This thing here is pure fucking poison. This motherfucker right here has assaulted me repeatedly. Violently fucking assaulted me. Tried to extort me. Fucking, it just... Oh, and look at you. Now you have become an aider and abetter because the 2 of you had to fucking make sure you had an endorsed fucking warrant. And if you did not make sure that the warrant was endorsed, then you are not fucking drawing up a document to commit the crime of breaking and entering. That's section 348(1), Part D of the Criminal Code of Canada. Because if you do that, the punishment is life of imprisonment. Because now what you're doing is you're committing the crime of aggravated assault. You're parties to the offense. It doesn't matter if you were here with guns or not. It doesn't matter if you 2 fucking shit stains were here with guns or not. You were part of this fucking hate crime. You can't come in here. You fucking were here with the SWAT team. You see what I'm facing here? And I gotta act normal. I'm supposed to act normally. Oh yeah. You see what they're supposed to be doing? Oh, by the way, this is why they get paid. Okay? This is why they get paid. I'm not just blowing sunshine up your biscuits. I'm trying to show you why they get paid. That's what they're supposed to be doing. So now let me explain to you what happens. So I don't know if you're in Canada or not, and I don't know if you've ever been arrested. So the whole system is backwards. So not only do I spend the night in cells, right? I spend the night in a cage, a cold cage, with no water. I'm freezing cold. I'm sitting on cold, hard just, it's just awful. My kidneys are being damaged, like severely damaged, because I can't sit. You know, I'm already weak. So then what happens is you come and they take you, persons acting as the sheriff's services, then take you from that location and they put you in fucking like shackles around your ankles. They put you in shackles around. I've got my fucking legs fucking shackled. That's what they did to me. You know how humiliating that is? It's cruel and unusual treatment. And it's just, these are just accusations at this point. Like, they haven't even proven anything, and this is how you're being treated. And then they take you down to this courthouse, and you're shuffled around and shuffled around. You have to walk back and forth to these rooms where you end up, if you have help, you talk to them, and then you have to go and listen to the person acting as the prosecutor, and you have to go listen to the adjudicator, right, acting as the court. And none of you are in the same room. You're in this cold little room on a rock-hard stool. They really don't want to hear what you have to say. You know, they want everybody to have a bar card that's talking. It's the most ridiculous thing ever, and then it's just more spin. So yesterday we get in there, and of course I'm still reeling, and I had an assistant. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call this lady an assistant. So I had an assistant yesterday, and what I find out during this process is this assistant has requested documentation and information from the persons acting as the BC prosecution at the beginning of October, and still hasn't received it, and now we're at the 3rd week of November. Now, why would that be? I'm informed yesterday by my assistant that they're seeking to go to trial. Seeking to go to trial on what? You need to be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that I have a criminal mind and that I have committed a criminal offense. You have neither. You have fucking neither. Like, and if you think for 1 second that I'm going to let you get away with this, and then if you think for 1 second that I don't know what I'm doing, because here's what I need, because I have an assistant, and I need to speak to my assistant, who actually did me a solid yesterday, and my assistant got me out of being humiliated and more degradation of my being. They wanted me to, like, visit a fucking bail supervisor. I think it was once every 2 weeks or something when I went in there on the 30th of August. And I was forced to do this. Well, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, nothing has been proven. Why would you do that to me? That's disgusting. You're wasting my time with more services that I don't need. You're not governing me. You're not going to govern me. I don't need your fucking governance, thanks. I don't need your services. Your services are for animals, for subjects, for slaves, for citizens. I'm none of those. None. So on August the 29th, in order for me to have been arrested, in order for my property, my private property, my personal private property to be seized, persons acting as SAANICH Police Department needed a warrant for my arrest, and they also needed a warrant to seize my private property. So what's going to happen now is we're going to have a preliminary hearing, because if you persons acting as BC Prosecution Services want to continue on with what you're doing to me, this is what we have to do, because you're going to have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that you are actually utilizing these public services correctly and appropriately, and I know that you're not. You need to prove worthy of your office. Yes, you do. So that's why we're going to have a preliminary hearing, because I need to see that documentation. I need to see all this documentation. I need to see 2 warrants. 1 to steal me, and the other to steal my private property. Because according to the paperwork I've got, these criminals acting as SAANICH Police Department have done an investigation and have witnessed me committing the offense of criminal harassment and witnessed me willfully obstructing a peace officer. No, I wasn't willfully resisting or obstructing you. I was trying to prevent you from committing crimes against me. If I didn't resist you, then I'd be accessory to your crimes. I can't be accessories to your crimes. I can't do that for you. Now, it's really important to understand law maxims are basically the law. Let me see. Oh, I got rights here, apparently. Did you know that? Oh, fuck, sure I do. Here's some bullshit right here. Written by who? Oh, there's rights here. I got rights? Well, I'm going to exercise my rights here. Instruments binding on Canada. Well, Canada's a fiction. I don't know what you're talking about. Article 7, 8, 10, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Articles 1, 2, and 16 of the Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhumane, and Degrading Treatment or Punishment. Well, isn't that what they're doing to me? All of that is what's happening to me by these public servants. Article 37. Where's my son? Article 15. Convention on the Rights of... see, when you see that word persons, you know they're dealing with things. They're dealing with citizens. They're dealing with subjects, and they're dealing with slaves. You don't ever want to be a person. Okay, so don't ever let them tell you that you can't use instruments, I guess they want to call them, from other countries. Listen, the USA is also a commonwealth. It's a commonwealth as well, just like Canada. So here you've got the American Declaration of the Rights and Duties of Man. Oh, yeah? Really? Oh, now you've got the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. Oh, fuck, where am I? Am I in the Twilight Zone? Sorry, I'm gonna whip around here and see if I can find what I was looking for. Yeah, I'm a writer. I write lots of documents. I do lots of research. Okay, here. Let's see the law maxims here. This is the law. This is the common law. So no one is bound to expose themselves to danger. So it's a rule of law that an error not resisted is approved. So that's why I'm letting them know on the 4th of September, you've made an error. You've made 2 of them here. I can't be a part of what you're doing, so I have to resist. Right? I'm going to resist your offer to contract because I'm not going to approve to being involved in you committing crimes against myself and my family. I can't help you out here. I can't be a part of what you're doing. So a right once vested cannot be divested. Like, do you know what I'm saying? The right to be let alone is indeed the beginning of all freedom. Government's not reason, it's not eloquence, it's force. The Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, it's not an instrument for the government to restrain the people, it's an instrument for the people to restrain the government. There's no such thing as the government. There's just males and females who are posing as public servants. Don't let them fool ya. They have no authority at all. They've been brainwashed. They've been brainwashed to believe they have authority that they don't have. Where rights are secured by the Charter, there can be no rulemaking or legislation that can basically take those rights away. No state is going to convert a liberty into a license, driver's license. I have a barber's license. Yep. You imagine. The claim and exercise of a charter right cannot be converted into a crime. Okay, well, I have the right to my life, like I have a right to save my own life. And that's what I was doing at the property on August the 29th. I have the right to save my own life. And they've now converted my right to save my own life into a crime. They're calling my right to save my own life, they're now claiming that I'm guilty of criminal harassment. Who is the victim? Who's the victim of this alleged criminal harassment? Who's criminally harassing who? They had the fucking SWAT team here on Wednesday afternoon. Who the fuck is criminally harassing who? A man's home is his castle, and each man's home, his safest refuge. So they've taken my safest refuge, that was a gift to me, the Honorable House of Daly, right? A man's home is his castle, and each man's home is the safest refuge. So they've taken my place of refuge, my safest refuge. They've stolen it from me. They've used it to commit indictable crime, money laundering, mortgage fraud, not once but twice. And they won't let me go home. So equity looks upon that as done, which ought to have been done. That's why I was at my house, my stolen land. That's why I was there on August the 29th. They won't help me go home. If you don't want to serve and protect me, then that leaves that role and that duty, obligation, responsibility up to me. How can I be criminally harassing when I'm under contract? A man gave me the right to enjoy our safe refuge. It doesn't belong to anybody else. It doesn't matter how many fucking times you tell that same fucking lie. Your lies are not gonna, like, all of a sudden whip into the truth. Like, I mean, this is what I'm dealing with fucking monkeys here. I'm dealing with circus monkeys. Speak no truth, see no truth, hear no truth. Well, that's what you're fucking doing. Investigating a crime. So you realize why we're going to have a preliminary hearing, don't you? Because these public servants are responsible for conducting criminal investigations. So according to persons acting as SAANICH Police Department, they've done a criminal investigation into my character and my conduct. I need to see all those documents. My assistant will be obtaining those documents from you because we need them for the preliminary hearing. I need to see the warrants. I need to see the warrant for my arrest because you're going to have to go in front of a bencher. You needed to go in front of a bencher and get a warrant for my arrest, and you needed to get a warrant to seize my private property. You're responsible for preventing and responding to crime. What? You don't do any of this. You don't do any of this. You're the fucking criminals. Yeah, so this is this is what it is here. Identifying itself as the chief of Victoria Police Department, who has actually aided and abetted the theft of my home, and mortgage fraud, and money laundering, and vandalism of private property, refusal of service. This one here is on the desk when my home was being stolen. I take in information down, it's right here, I'll show you. Oh, listen, I'm an INFJ, don't ever ask me if I got proof. Don't ever ask me if I got proof. So here's the file number, December of 2019, that's why so the first two numbers are the year. So that's 2019. And here's the file number here, 52. So this is how many times, this is how many files they've created that year. So by December the 3rd, this is how many, I'm 52378. That's what that number refers to. I have gone and I've said to them, I've got bankers and BARF members stealing my house. They're telling lies, and I know what your job is, so I need you to move on this. And they told me to go fuck myself. Yeah, you should see all the work I do. You should see all the work I did. None of it's been fruitful, but that's not going to stop me. You know what I mean? I'm still going to, you want a war with me? Let's go. I mean, who's got staying power? Robbery and extortion, that's what they were. Listen, I did all this work. I did all this fucking work, and they told me to go fuck myself. And then this fucking shit stain from SAANICH PD, he fucking finds out my house is being stolen, and instead of helping me, I get assaulted. Yep, I get assaulted. Section under the Mental Health Act, because I'm telling the truth. They're coming for everybody's house, you guys. I'm not kidding you. They're coming for everybody's house. So under the guise of color of law, it's a crime for one or more government employees to use their police powers to either deprive or to conspire to willfully deprive a woman of their constitutional rights. In Canada here, it's the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're also guilty of color of office. Because if you're not going to follow the oath that you took to uphold the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, then you're acting in color of office. You're fucking frauds. You're fascist frauds. Well, that's what happens, right? When you go down to the courthouse there, they use manipulation, intimidation, and domination to get you to submit to their services. I don't require your services, and I don't need to contract with you if I so choose not to. So here's a file number here. End of November 2021. I go up to the door, and I speak to these two. these two male monkeys, and I provide them a package of information. I call it proof. The world would call it receipts. You know what I mean? Like when you go to the grocery store and you buy some bananas, right? You have a product and you've paid for the product, so you get a receipt to prove that it's yours. That's what I did. I told them, I said, okay, here's all the paperwork that you need. Land is stolen, the house is stolen, it's being used for criminal activity. I need you two fuckfaces to move on this. Here's the file number. I forced them to give me a file number. And then they started to attack me. Both of them started to attack me after I left there. They refused me service. So SAANICH Police Department has a financial crimes unit. What they needed to do, and this is the sergeant here, right? This is the, that's what it calls itself. Those titles are ridiculous, by the way. This thing here needed to inform the financial crimes unit that you need to start an investigation. We've got a package of information here, and, you know, let's like get on this. Here it is right here, financial crimes unit. Well, if you have a unit and you know repeatedly that that's a financial crime, you're not going to help me out. Okay, here's some more rules of law, right? These are law maxims. Here's one I need you to remember, and don't ever forget what I'm about to say to you. This one is so important. So fiction must yield to truth, right? Fiction must yield to truth. So fiction, what is a fiction? The government is a fiction. The court is a fiction. SAANICH Police Department is a fiction. Victoria Police Department is a fiction. If you're of the truth, you're a man or woman who knows the truth and speaks the truth, because it's part of your soul, it's a part of your heart, it's a part of your mind. And you can't be like brainwashed into believing that these ridiculous fucking titles, like the government and the court, actually have some authority. The bank, there's another one, that's a fiction. It's a fiction. The bank. What are you talking about? It's a fraud to conceal a fraud. Well, that's what they're doing. That's why, no thanks. If a concealed fraud is equal to deceit, well, yes, of course it is. A deceiver deals in generals. Oh, well, isn't that what the government does? Deals in generals? It's safer to be deceived than to deceive. Oh, I don't think so. That's interesting, though, isn't it? Where truth is, fiction of law does not exist. Okay, so that shouldn't say law, because the law would be of the truth. Everything legal is fiction. Everything legal is fiction. Oh, here we go. So the other day what I experienced was police misconduct. Police misconduct, no such thing as police, that's a fiction. Police misconduct is inappropriate conduct and illegal actions taken by persons acting as police officers in connection with their official duties. So, I just experienced that on Wednesday. False accusations. Fabricating evidence. Right? Telling fibs, basically. Being a malicious witness. That's what they've done to me, not once but twice. Malicious witnesses, right? Yeah, they got their fucking heads shoved up their holes, so this is why they're blind and deaf. They don't hear me. So, those are the documents from August the 30th. Written up by a public service corporation, identifying itself as the court. And I'm not doing it. Like you can't force me into contract. I don't need your services. They're just sickos. So can you imagine? They keep just completely denying what's actually going on here. You don't want to actually get to the heart of the matter. You don't want to get to the actual issue. You're denying, attacking, reversing, and then offending me with your bullshit. You've heard of Darvo, haven't you? If you're targeted, if you're one of the targeted, and this world keeps coming at you like a freight train that's right the fuck out of control and about to jump the track and hit you, you need to make sure that your mind is solid. Don't ever believe their bullshit. Don't ever believe their bullshit. If you know the truth, you stand on that. You know who you are. At least you should. Consistent reaction and manipulation tactic used by perpetrators. Poisonous, right? Perpetrators are like pythons. They want to suck the fucking life out of you with their bullshit. Perpetrators of abuse and other types of wrongdoing. It works by shifting the focus away from the original issue and attacking the actual victim. It attempts to switch the roles of victim and perpetrator to allow the actual offender to receive sympathy and compassion publicly or privately, as well as to avoid consequences for their actions. Now, I wrote up a document, and I have that document everywhere. And I have proven beyond reasonable doubt that Dean Murdoch and Dean Duffy, who are acting in the fictional role of the District of SAANICH in the SAANICH Police Department, both of them are indictable crime community criminals. And that is why they have laid these two false charges. That is why they were here at the door the other day with the SWAT team. That's why they're here. I'm not sure where you're at. I'm not sure if you're in Canada. We have the most corrupt police in the world. The most corrupt police departments in the world. We also boast the most corrupt judiciary in the world as well. Oh yeah, but don't you ever believe Canada's a nice place? It's not. I mean, this is exactly what we're dealing with here. Victim blaming. They're doing it to me again. They don't stop. They're just monsters. They're scum. And so I can't be around scum, right? You know why? Because it's going to cause me physical harm. This is what happens when you're around scum. Their rot becomes, you get stained with their rot. You get harmed by their rot. There can't be a meeting of the minds between the righteous and the wicked. There just can't be. You know what? I have heard of Kate of Gaia, and I've seen some very interesting documents and heard some very interesting documents. So please understand that I'm not lying to you about the amount of fraud happening in Canada. Look at this guy. BC investment fraud victims. Figures he gets his, well, whatever he's lost, he recovers it because it's happening in Manitoba as well. You realize that that's like $750,000, right? Yeah, to like give it another more powerful impact. He's lost because of fraud $750,000. That's significant. Because somebody's just jacked him. That's just what happened to my family. And I go for help. Okay, so here is a person acting as a police sergeant actually saying, this is public record, right? This is media. This is on the public record. Fraud is very bad right now, said Sergeant Gill, who leads the financial crime unit in Vancouver. Okay, so I'm in Victoria. I'm just across the water, right? I'm across the water in Victoria. I happen to be placed in the district of SAANICH. And how is it that this person, Mr. Gill, how is he recognizing and saying it's very bad right now? And it is. And yet when I go for help, it's full-on fucking assault with the SWAT team. You guys, it's funny though, right? Okay, so here's some more proof. Alarming increase in the number of house thefts. Do you know how many times I've been called crazy? You guys, I'm not kidding. They're telling me that I'm crazy because I'm telling the truth. And yet you have someone else here saying the same thing I'm saying. You've got an alarming increase in house thefts, but you all want to believe that my house hasn't been stolen? And that's how they did it. They committed title fraud. That's how they stole my house, by committing that crime. But I'm the asshole for some reason. I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm not going to kill myself. Are you kidding me? Okay, so here's some more proof about all the mortgage fraud happening in Canada. Look, you've got 4. You need 3 witnesses of the truth to establish the truth. Now, why would all of these content creators, these are content creators on social media, why would they be saying all of this if it's not true? But I'm the asshole. I'm nuts. If you have an opportunity to go and find this documentary called Push, yeah, you have to pay for it, I think, unless you can find it for free. So there's no housing shortage. There's no housing shortage. What's happening is the wealthy, the wicked wealthy, are buying up housing and using it as an investment to make themselves money. They're leaving, I mean, countless houses, apartments, they're leaving them empty. There's no housing shortage. This is what's happening here. That's what's really going on. And this was from 2019, and it's only gotten worse. You heard of BlackRock, right? That's what they're doing. They're buying up everything. Well, we're different, right? We're a different species altogether. Okay, police brutality. You've got all these reports about corruption in policing and police brutality and excessive police force. The SWAT team showing up here on Wednesday afternoon, that is excessive force. Like, it's offensive. It's excessive and it's beyond offensive that you're here for one of the fragile handle with care, because they're religious. You get that, right? That's why over here in British Columbia, the person's acting as provincial government. They have titles like minister. Well, what religion are you practicing if you're a minister? You're a minister of what? That's a religious term. What religion are you practicing? It's got to be Satanism, because it fits the bill perfectly. So I want to show you what I face. Now, this was a SWAT team that was here the other day, but this is how regular persons, this is their outfit. What in the fuck are you wearing? What are you wearing? But you notice how there's no body cam on there? Now, those in the United States, I believe many of the states have their police personnel wearing body cameras, and they have them rolling. There's some states that don't. Now, here in Canada, the municipal persons acting as police services don't wear body cams. Now, just recently, and I believe within days, the federal public servants acting as RCMP are going to start wearing body cams during every interaction. Yeah, but this is, okay, so this is dressed for war. This is not dressed for peace. You call yourself a peace officer. You have nothing to do with peace. You do not know the way of peace, because if you were actually about peace, you wouldn't be outfitted like that. Oh yes, we are outfitted. We are fucking large and in charge. We're outfitted. You know the thing, right? If you read scripture, you know exactly what's happening here. I mean, that's where you go for wisdom and understanding and knowledge. That's where you go. You're not going to fix this. So I want to show you one of the persons who has attacked me. This Mike Walsh, acting as a public servant for the SAANICH police here. 3 times I got attacked by this person. At the end of November last year, so a year ago, I got attacked again on February the 11th. Well, it's right there, November the 29th, 2023, February 11th, 2024, and August 29th, 2024, I was attacked by that male. That's 3 times in less than a year attacked by a public servant who caused me to be in fear for my life every time we interacted and lied to me. They just literally fucking lie right to your face. And I guess they figure I don't know. Well, fuck, I know. I know what you're up to. Stalking. So you realize that, right? They've charged me with criminal harassment, stalking. Well, how can a woman who is under contract to protect property that's been stolen, how can she possibly be stalking when all she's doing is trying to save her own life, which is her duty, obligation, and responsibility to save her own life? That's it, you guys. So who's stalking who? I have a YouTube channel, and for the last about 4 years, I have caught on recording being criminally harassed consistently and repeatedly by persons acting as police services. They come here to intimidate and utter threats, criminally harass. Yeah, but I'm the one being charged. So whose system is it really? Because it's a retaliatory hate crime. That's what they're up to here. It's retaliation. Okay, so I'm not sure if you've ever read the Criminal Code of Canada. So on Wednesday afternoon, the crime of mischief occurred. And Mr. Whitaker, a male, identifying itself as a Canadian citizen, identifying itself as a public servant who has taken an oath to uphold the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, was here with a team of its goons, armed and dangerous goons. So this is an offense involving property damage, such as vandalism. Well, they vandalized private property. It involves willfully destroying or damaging property, rendering that property useless, dangerous, inoperative, or ineffective, or obstructing, interrupting, or interfering with the lawful use, enjoyment, and operation of property. That is exactly what they did to the door lock. That is, I couldn't have described it better than that. That's exactly what they did, and also to my private automobile, to my private house car. They smashed in 2 of her windows, completely destroying her, and now I can no longer use her. They've interrupted me. They've interfered with the lawful use, enjoyment, and operation of my house car. They did that to me on August the 29th. Now, making sure I don't have a set of wheels causes danger to my life. Yeah, so here in Canada we have something that's called, there's summary offenses and indictable offenses. Now, if you have proof beyond reasonable doubt of crimes that can be convicted under summary, it's 2 years less a day of jail. And there is no trial. There is no trial at all. It's just, this is what you did. These are the rules. I've got proof beyond reasonable doubt. You had criminal mind, and then you commit the criminal act. And now you're going to jail. So a straight indictable offense means you have to have a trial. That's what that means. So because I'm not sure where my listener is, I need to explain the difference between the Canadian and the American system. So this is one of the windows. I have a little buggy that I've had since 1993. And in 2021, there was a violent assault on her to hurt me. And it was caught on CCTV, and I watched it. It was just fucking disgusting. And this last time, the police, so on this side, they smashed in, the police personnel at the end of August smashed in this window completely and entirely, and then this other window on the other side of the car, this window they smashed in completely and entirely. So that's mischief, right? And it's you've vandalized property. 10 years. 10 years in prison. Okay. Robbery. Robbery is a violent property offense. One of the most serious under Canadian criminal law. So you realize that they're armed and dangerous at the end of August, right? When they surround me like they did on Wednesday. And they robbed my automobile while they were armed. And there's no doubt about it, like you're not getting around it. Assault and theft. Did you have a warrant for that? So have you heard of these legal terms? The guilty act and the guilty mind? You have to have both. You have to be able to prove both beyond reasonable doubt. The guilty act and the guilty mind. So there's proof beyond reasonable doubt. They premeditated that hate crime on Wednesday afternoon, so that's a guilty mind. And then instead of stopping and thinking about what they were doing, they came and completed the guilty act. Because there's all this proof now. Like, I'm so sorry, I tried to show you my wrists and it didn't turn out very well for me, but I do have photographs. I did take photographs of my wrists, of them being all bruised up. So this is how it works over here in Canada. And in my culture, you can't be the prosecutor unless you have first-hand knowledge of the crime. So it would actually be the victim of the crime who would be the prosecutor. That's how that would work. So, like, the assailants in my life, these are reactive offenders. So these persons have a sense of entitlement of regarding their rights, their privileges, or their way of life, which then wouldn't be extended to me, their victim. That's like a psychopath. You know what I'm saying? Because here we've got a Criminal Code of Canada offense, taking motor vehicle. Well, I don't have a motor vehicle. I have an automobile. And it's a crime to take it. Which is why I couldn't get out of her. I couldn't get out of her because I didn't want to be robbed. And now because I didn't want to be robbed, they're telling me that I am willfully resisting. I'm willfully resisting being robbed, you guys. And that's a crime in Canada. To willfully resist being robbed is a fucking crime now. Kidnapping and unlawful confinement. Well, that's what happened to me Wednesday again for another 24 hours. Every person commits an offense who kidnaps a woman with intent to cause the woman to be confined or imprisoned against their will, to cause the woman to be unlawfully sent or transported against the woman's will, to hold the woman for ransom or to service. Now, do you understand what I just said? To hold the woman for ransom or to service. So I am being provided, I was offered services. I was offered public services by persons acting as the court, and I have respectfully provided lawful reasons why I reject the services. And in order to force me into service against my will and my conscience and my culture, they use the SWAT team. And then they intimidate and make threats. They utter threats. Well, if you don't submit to our services, you are going to jail. That's uttering threats. That's criminal harassment. You can't do that. Forcible confinement. Tortured for 24 hours against my will. That's why I'm so vocal. That's what they did to me. How the fuck am I the nutty one then? Okay, so here's something else you need to know about Canada. The police aren't able to pursue criminal charges even if they wanted to. The court system is screwed because of Canada's Bill C-75, which effectively prohibits penalties for criminal offenses if you're poor, homeless, or have mental health issues. Okay, so we got 2 out of the 3 with me. I'm in extreme poverty. I've been rendered homeless, but I am not now, nor I have ever been mentally ill. I do not have mental health issues. I don't. I never have had mental health issues. There's no psychiatric or psychological services that I have ever sought. Sometimes they have been forced upon me and I have refused because they need my consent and they don't have it. They don't require those types of services, thanks. So then if this bill C-75, if this is now in effect, how is it that a woman who is beyond destitute and homeless, why are the persons acting as BC prosecution, why are they seeking to take these fabricated evidence to trial, to waste public services? You can't do that because I don't consent. I just full on fucking don't consent. Truth and opinion are 2 different things. So you know what? This is so I was working on a document, and this is what it is. So that's why it looks right and wrong. A right cannot arise from a wrong. So it's wrong for trespassers to use my home. So you don't have a right to continue to use my home. Do you understand? That's why you're listening here. An error not resisted is approved. So that's really important to understand, right? That's a law maxim. An error not resisted is approved. So I resist an invitation for services because you're offering me services in error and it require your services. He who is silent appears to consent. That's why I don't stay silent. That's why I send fucking emails. That's why I make documents. That's why I do live uploads. So that's why I do live Instagrams. Things silent are sometimes considered as expressed. To conceal is one thing, to be silent another. Concealment of the truth is equivalent to a statement of what is false. No one ought to enrich themselves at the expense of others. No one can improve their condition by a crime. No one shall take advantage of their own wrong. The multitude of those who err is no excuse for error. So we had a multitude of mindless fucking monkeys here on Wednesday afternoon. Yeah, it was a fucking mindless monkey multitude. All fucking dressed for war. All dressed to incite war against an innocent woman who is unarmed. Yeah. It's better to suffer every wrong or ill than to consent to it. So that's really important. It's better to suffer every wrong or ill than to consent to it. That's why I don't consent to any of this. And that's why I push back. That's why I resist. That's why I don't accept their services. You are not to do evil, that good may come of it. Interesting. If you listened here for any length of time, if you're still here, I thank you. I appreciate you if you listened. I appreciate you if you follow me. If you are targeted, those opinions that you hear, don't let them affect you. You know who you are. You're targeted because you have something different about you that is offensive to those who are basically already gone. So I've experienced targeting for over 5 decades now, so I know a little bit about it. So if I can survive, so can you, and I need you to survive. Because you need to be here, because you're here for a reason and you're here for a purpose. So it doesn't matter what they do to you, you hold the line. You stay strong. Don't let them brainwash you with their bullshit, their Babylonian bullshit. Life goes by very quickly. And what goes around comes around. It's just like gravity. What goes around comes around. You fling that boomerang at someone to hurt them, you better believe that boomerang bounces off of them and comes back onto you. No matter how long it takes. Doesn't matter how long it takes. Besides, all of this war is just to make you stronger because you're a soldier if you're a targeted one. So remember that, okay? Don't ever forget that. It's better to suffer every wrong or ill than to consent to it. It's not okay to be abused. It's not okay to be lied to. It's not okay to be lied about. You gotta stay away from the poisonous. You gotta stay away from the pythons. They're only there to squeeze you to death. They get pleasure out of it like they do to me. They poke and they prod. It's gonna be okay.